guys, Shereyl Swoops and A'ja Wilson. Oh my goodness. The press tour has officially took off running. That's right. Everybody who laid the foundation for you. That's right. You did nothing, A'ja. You did absolutely nothing. We got A'ja Wilson talking about, oh, I've been waiting 2 years for this. Wait, 2 years for this? 2 years for this. 2025, 2023. CC's announced in 2024. Delayed, not denied in 2024. Backlash all 2024. I've been waiting 2 years for this. And then we got Shereyl Swoops dead.
Did A'ja Wilson just drop the biggest PR bombshell the WNBA has ever seen? You might think it's all about sneakers and marketing, but what's really going down behind the scenes is something that's shaking the very foundation of the league. A'ja's been sitting on a massive secret for 2 years. Yes, you heard that right, 2 years. While the world's eyes were glued to Caitlin Clark and her Nike deal, A'ja Wilson was quietly preparing to drop a bombshell that would change everything. But here's the kicker. It's not just about a shoe. Oh no. This reveal has ignited a whole new wave of drama, controversy, and debates that could have long-lasting effects on the future of the WNBA. So, what's the real story behind A'ja's big moment? Stay tuned, because we're about to break it all down.
It's actually much worse. Nike and A'ja watched the WNBA legacy media and the fans go ballistic on social media, and their first instinct, we can turn this into a marketing campaign. That's true.
For 2 full years, A'ja Wilson kept a massive secret under wraps, her very own Nike signature shoe. Can you even imagine that level of silence? While the media was buzzing about Caitlin Clark's highly publicized Nike deal, A'ja quietly worked behind the scenes, secretly preparing for a moment that would flip the script. And while Caitlin was being dragged through the mud for her deal, A'ja stayed out of the drama, keeping her cards close to her chest. Now, you might be thinking, what's the big deal? A shoe's a shoe, right? But that's the thing. This wasn't just about a sneaker. This was a strategic, masterful move on A'ja's part.
A'ja Wilson double talking, and who would have thought out of all of this, Sydney Colson, old Sydney Colson tweets get brought back to life. It's alive like Frankenstein, and ooh, Indiana Fever fans, Caitlin Clark fans, some are not too happy.
Think about it. Caitlin Clark's Nike deal became a lightning rod for controversy, with accusations of favoritism, race issues, and a ton of backlash from all sides. The public was consumed by the chaos. But A'ja, rather than stepping into the fray, decided to stay silent. She held her cards, playing it cool while everyone else was caught up in the drama.
But why?
Why would she keep something so huge under wraps when the world was already watching? Because A'ja wasn't just looking to ride the wave of publicity. She knew the right moment would come, and when it did, it would hit harder than anything Nike, or the WNBA, had ever seen before. Her reveal wasn't just a shoe drop, it was the ultimate power play. And here's the thing, A'ja's decision to stay quiet wasn't just about avoiding the noise. It was about controlling the narrative. While the world focused on Caitlin's messy debut, A'ja was working behind the scenes, turning this sneaker deal into something bigger, a strategic move that would capture the spotlight and send ripples across the league. And the timing? Perfect. Nike and the WNBA were ready for this moment, and A'ja's patience paid off. The shoe reveal wasn't just a moment, it was the culmination of 2 years of careful maneuvering. While Caitlin's deal sparked endless debates about race and media coverage, A'ja's deal slipped under the radar, waiting to come out swinging. This wasn't some spontaneous PR stunt. It was a well-calculated move, planned out for the perfect moment. But here's the real kicker. This wasn't just about a shoe, a brand, or even A'ja's growing influence. The decision to wait 2 years for the reveal wasn't only about keeping it secret. It was about who was involved, how they played the game, and what happened when A'ja stepped into the spotlight. The question is, was A'ja's silence a strategic move that worked in her favor, or did it make her a key player in a much bigger game that no one saw coming? Let's break this down.
Of course I have a shoe. Everybody going off on A'ja Wilson. Caitlin's got a shoe. You don't have a shoe? Delayed, not denied. Caitlin's got a shoe. You don't have a shoe? Delayed, not denied. And then, yep, lo and behold, yeah, I have a shoe. I've known about it for a year, allegedly. And here we are.
In an unforgettable moment, A'ja Wilson took the stage to reveal her long-awaited Nike signature shoe, but the way she did it was what really stood out. After a year of working on the design, A'ja finally got to share it with her parents. The emotion was palpable as she stood there, watching them react to what had been an incredibly personal journey for her. This wasn't just a sneaker. It was a culmination of years of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication. You could see the weight of the moment on her face as she shared it with the people who had supported her from the beginning. But here's the kicker. While A'ja's emotional reveal felt personal, heartfelt, and grounded in her journey, Caitlin Clark's Nike deal was still the conversation of the town. All eyes had been on Caitlin's public struggles and the controversy surrounding her deal, making A'ja's more subtle, emotional moment feel almost like a quiet counterpoint. At the same time, the reveal wasn't just personal, it was a PR play. Nike had been waiting for this moment, positioning A'ja as the face of something bigger. The reveal wasn't just about her sneaker. It was about introducing A'ja as the next big name in basketball, and by tapping into the raw emotion of the moment, Nike set the tone for what they wanted to achieve. Let's be real, while Caitlin Clark's deal was still stirring up headlines, A'ja's moment was a calculated move designed to grab attention in a different way. It wasn't just about selling shoes. It was about positioning A'ja as someone to watch, someone who could create waves beyond the basketball court. Nike wasn't just launching a product. They were launching a new era in women's sports culture, and A'ja Wilson was at the center of it.
But she make it seem like Nike is doing like just the best thing ever by signing A'ja Wilson, and how A'ja Wilson is going to be the one to push the brand forward, and how A'ja Wilson's shoe is going to be like the top shoe ever. And it's just no mention of Caitlin or any other athletes, which I understand it is an A'ja Wilson event, but you still got to pay homage to the roster that's on Nike, just like Nike did when they did the damn commercial.
Despite the emotional power of A'ja's shoe reveal, there's a glaring contradiction that no one can ignore. Her games still aren't attracting the kind of audiences they deserve. Despite having this monumental sneaker deal, TV ratings for her games are barely scraping 300,000 viewers. It's frustrating. You'd think that with this level of hype, the arenas would be packed, the TV ratings would soar, and we'd be talking about A'ja as a household name in the same breath as the NBA's biggest stars. But that's not happening. The hard truth is that even with this huge PR moment behind her, the WNBA continues to struggle with mainstream attention. Fans are still slow to tune in, and arenas are far from packed. This disconnect between A'ja's personal rise in the spotlight and the lackluster viewership is eye-opening. It's clear, while A'ja's signature shoe is a cultural statement and a big deal in the basketball world, it's not enough to change the entire landscape of the WNBA's media consumption overnight. In fact, this is where the shoe deal and reveal begin to shift into a different kind of play. Nike's strategy isn't just about basketball anymore, it's about marketing A'ja herself. The sneaker reveal is about creating a figurehead for the next era of women's sports, someone who can help sell not just products, but the culture around them. The shoe might not be driving huge TV ratings today, but it's doing something different. It's building A'ja's brand. Nike isn't just looking at the basketball stats. They're looking at A'ja as the new face of an industry, and as she grows in popularity, so too will the WNBA's profile.
We're just black. Here we go. There it is. It's one of the moments. Damn. Why come she just can't have her shoe? Why we gotta throw race? And you wonder why the W is racist. You wonder why. You wonder why we're here still.
Now, this is where it gets even more complex. When Shereyl Swoops, one of the biggest names in women's basketball history, spoke at the Nike event, she made it clear that A'ja's signature shoe deal wasn't just about a product. It was a milestone in racial progress. Shereyl framed A'ja's achievement as not just personal, but as a moment of triumph for Black women in sports. She highlighted how Asia's rise represented the breaking of barriers, the kind of visibility and recognition that hadn't been afforded to Black women athletes in the past. But not everyone agreed with Sheryll's take. In fact, many in the WNBA, both players and coaches, felt uncomfortable with the idea of framing the deal as a racial victory. For some, it seemed like an unnecessary distraction from what was, at its core, a huge achievement in Asia's basketball career. These players had worked their whole lives to get to this point, and they wanted the focus to be on their hard work, their talent, and their game, not just the racial aspect of their rise to prominence. There's no denying that race plays a critical role in sports, especially when it comes to visibility, marketing, and endorsement deals. But for some, making the moment about race feels like it undermines the individual athlete's hard-earned success. The risk? That the conversation shifts from celebrating Asia's basketball legacy to simply using her as a symbol for a broader narrative, one that could overshadow the true grit and perseverance behind her success. The reaction was mixed, and the debate continues to bubble beneath the surface. While Sheryll's speech aimed to amplify the importance of Black representation in sports, others saw it as a complication in what should have been a straightforward celebration of Asia's career. Was this about a shoe, a player, or a bigger cultural statement? The lines are still blurred, and the debate is far from over.
The first Black woman! Damn! Why do it gotta be about race? Why come she just can't get her shoe? Now, this is one of the instances.
Oh man, this league is a disaster. But what I tell you guys, they're now dragging up Sydney Colson.
The moment A'ja Wilson's Nike shoe deal hit the public, it was clear the conversation wouldn't just be about basketball. Fans flooded social media, celebrating her success, but a storm was brewing in the comments. On one side, there were fans who saw A'ja's achievement as a powerful symbol for Black women in sports, applauding Nike's commitment to her as a face of the future. But on the other side, there was a growing debate about whether race should even be part of the conversation at all. Some fans began to see Nike's emphasis on the racial narrative behind A'ja's deal as a deliberate tactic, an effort to make the shoe deal more than just about basketball, but about a larger political statement. These critics argued that while racial representation in sports is important, Nike's move might be seen as using A'ja's success to fuel a broader, perhaps even divisive, conversation. Was the focus on A'ja's skills and athleticism, or was it being overshadowed by race and social justice? For some, this shifted the attention away from what truly matters, A'ja's skill on the court. After all, her incredible talent is why she's in this position in the first place. The more the racial narrative took center stage, the more fans and analysts questioned whether her shoe was being marketed as a product of her performance or a product of the current social climate. The debate was far from settled, and it fueled the growing friction between sports and politics. Just when the drama surrounding A'ja's shoe deal seemed to settle, a new scandal erupted. Sydney Colson, who recently joined Caitlin Clark's team, found herself in hot water when old tweets surfaced in which she shaded A'ja for not having a signature shoe at the time. The tweets, which were meant as criticism at the time, resurfaced to fuel the fire, especially now that Colson was publicly aligning herself with Caitlin Clark, who has been at the center of the Nike deal controversy. Fans were quick to point out the hypocrisy in Colson's comments. Given that she's now closely associated with Clark's team, and by extension with Caitlin's ongoing deal, the resurfacing of her tweets created a whole new layer of tension in an already fragile landscape. Some wondered how this would affect the chemistry in the locker room. If Colson had these negative views about A'ja's brand deal, could it cause tension between players? Would it affect the dynamic when teams like Clark's and Wilson's face off on the court? The fallout was swift, and now Colson's past comments were being scrutinized as she navigated her new role in the league. The locker room drama was just beginning, as players weighed in on Colson's history of remarks and how it might impact team unity. Now, let's talk about Nike, the company at the center of all of this. Nike is, as usual, caught in the middle of the debate. On one hand, they want to leverage the growing conversation about race and social justice to market A'ja and elevate her platform. On the other hand, they also have to play a balancing act with basketball fans who are tired of seeing corporate-driven narratives overshadow the game itself. The brand's marketing strategy has evolved far beyond just selling shoes. It's now intertwined with politics, race, and controversy. Nike has long been an advocate for social issues, but this deal has pushed that involvement to the forefront, and it's not without consequence. Fans are frustrated. They're tired of seeing basketball discussions dominated by political statements or corporate-driven narratives. Many just want to talk about the game, its plays, its players, and the sheer athleticism of women's basketball. Nike's brand isn't just about athletes anymore. It's about aligning itself with causes that matter, and that's putting them in a tricky position. How do they market Asia and her achievements without alienating fans who want to keep sports and politics separate? The brand's legacy is now inseparable from these debates, and they might not have a clear answer on how to navigate the choppy waters ahead. Which brings us to the WNBA's broader dilemma. The league is caught between two worlds, one where they want to promote the athletes and their incredible skills, and another where they feel the pressure to lean into social narratives to stay relevant. The issue? This tug-of-war is overshadowing the core of what makes the league so special, the game itself. Experts are starting to suggest that the WNBA needs to reassess its approach. Sure, supporting social justice and pushing for racial representation is important, but there's a growing sense that the league needs to refocus on showcasing the athletes for who they are as basketball players first. The WNBA has the talent, the depth, and the potential to build a league where fans are excited to tune in because they love the sport, not because of the latest political statement or marketing gimmick. Fans and analysts are calling for a shift, one where the focus is on the athletes' hard work, skills, and stories. The league, they argue, shouldn't lose sight of what makes it unique: the amazing players who are breaking records, making history, and redefining the game. Are we losing sight of what truly matters on the court? So, what is meant to be a groundbreaking moment for A'ja Wilson, a moment of pure celebration, has instead sparked a full-blown debate about race, marketing, and the future of the WNBA. The reveal of A'ja's Nike signature shoe should have been a high point of her career, but it quickly became a flashpoint for a much bigger conversation about identity in sports. Now, we turn the question to you. Is it time for the WNBA to ditch the political soapbox and get back to basketball? Or can these social conversations coexist with the game, making it even stronger in the process? The answers are still unfolding, but one thing's for sure: this story is far from over.